What douchebaggery is this? Today on the Manspace. Welcome to the Manspace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, Spacemen. Not Manosphere, man. Doesn't even roll off the tongue. Dude, I just did my band reunion.
Yeah. How was it?
Dude, it was freaking awesome.
Did you guys have instruments and everything? Or was it just a hangout?
Yeah. It was just acoustic. We got up there and air guitared it.
Like,
we
at someone's house that has all this stuff, or did you have to bring everything?
The bass player, he brought his own bass and equipment. Our trombone player apparently has started making guitars, and so I was using one of his homemade guitars, which was pretty solid. And I brought my own pedal. And then the drummer, he brought his drums. Ryan Schooley, he brought his drums from Utah. And then
he's
the
from California, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
Or Los Osos, which is a town right next to it. But anyway, I was freaking nervous when we started. I was like, dude, what if I actually blow at this? I suck at guitar. So we started playing, the bass player wasn't there yet. And it's very different playing the whole band minus the bass player because of the timing. You can keep your timing with the drums, but the bass kind of has that movement through that keeps things kind of solid and consistent. But I was just freaking nervous. And it was.
Did it sound like a shred, or did it sound good?
Maybe I'll show you guys videos at some point. We have video. It was good. We ended up the next morning. We practiced, all of us, for 3 hours. And at that point, it was I felt
you guys going really on the road solid. Again.
Well, we do have a plan. We also played it at someone's birthday party. At the pool. It was it was awesome. But we do have a plan next time. We want to get together again and actually go rent a recording studio for a day and
nice.
Mess around and redo crap. What the best part about it was feeling like, oh man, these are dudes that I went through crap with. Nothing bad. We just had, it was always fun. We'd fight. We were talking about the way we'd fight with each other. The way one of my favorites was when we were recording this song on our album called "This Isn't the Place," and the drummer thought it was a boring song. So as he's doing his drum part, he leans over to the microphone and just goes, "Boring." Ryan was I'm pretty sure if we isolated that, we could still hear you say "boring." But anyway, it was freaking awesome. That's all. You guys missed out. I'll show you a video one day.
Is it on Spotify yet?
No. The album?
Yeah.
No. Maybe talk to Ryan, see if he can get that done.
I own it, but
yeah, me too. Everyone should. Just kidding.
You could put it on there. Claim
it's funny. We had to.
Mike the manager.
You can put it on. I don't know how to do that, but it's funny. Someone's going to be like, "Here, Rob, someone's going to hear this and be like, this is how you do it." But it was, it's funny listening to it and being like, how do we play that fast? It's freaking impossible. It's I can't make my arm move that fast anymore. Poor Ryan, the bass player, dude, because there's so much movement in ska songs. The bass is always walking around somewhere. So it's it was impossible. And some of the notes were pretty high for the trumpet player. I felt bad for him by the end of playing for 5 hours for the day. His lips were probably just really raw.
Yeah, the speed thing. There was an interview with Kirk Hammett, and they can't downstroke as fast as they did back in the day.
Yeah.
So he was they were like, "How did you play like that?" He's like, "Yeah, we were just on a lot of speed."
Yeah.
It's just well, we were younger and more in tune. No, we just did a lot of speed back then.
What's funny is I actually think we sounded better now when we slowed things down. And I realized that the album, it's we just cheated our way through. It'd be well, I can play this for this long, then just cut it. and then I'll pick up again. We'll start again. That like I can do it for 4 bars, and then we'll cut, and then I'll do it for 4 more bars. But I can't go for the full song.
Get the forearm
It's
burn.
fine. It's whatever. Yeah, dude, it was good. You guys missed out. Oh, but the whole reason I was telling you that was because of this and calling people spacemen. It occurred to me. I was like telling my kids this, and we renamed our little group chat on the iPhone. We named it to the hookers. I was like, oh, we could have called our fan hookers because we're button hooked to the hookers. Dang it. Whatever. Anyway.
You keep saying we missed out, but we also weren't invited.
You did.
Yeah, I was going to say, like...
You guys could have flown out to
you
watch
make
the
that
pool
statement
party.
as though we were invited out.
I mean, we did invite Knibble so we could have the fat man in the fat suit dancing on stage.
You didn't invite me.
Well, you never were there.
I could easily be the fat man in the fat suit now.
Would you go to like 2 shows?
I went to shows.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you when you played with Suburban Legends.
You know, it's funny as a trumpet player. He's like, we played with them? It's like, yes. He's like, that's like one of my favorite bands. Why do I not remember this? Poor guy. Yeah. Well, fine. I'll invite you next time. No, I won't. I'm lying. It'll be in Vegas at a recording studio.
It'd be hilarious because if I showed up, they'd be like, why'd your brother come?
Why'd you bring him? Actually, I told you that.
Like, Matt would at least have something to contribute.
No.
You could get Matt in there playing like rhythm guitar or something. What have I got?
No, Matt would have to be the lead guitar because they'd be like, hey, Rob, you're out. You suck. Hey, Matt, you want to join our band? I think I told you that Schoolie, the drummer, he freaking loves this show. And he's like, hey, you can't bring them with? You want to bring them with you? Like, I was like, yeah, like my entourage. Like, these guys travel with me everywhere.
I'll have a soda at your side in case you get thirsty.
Oh, man. I swallowed too hard. Mike's like, Rob, you need Dr. Pepper?
I can't say it.
That's why you can't be part of the entourage, Mike. You're out.
I blew it. I blew my chance.
The best part was when we're playing this little show and like everybody had their family there except for me and Ryan. And so Dan, the trumpet player, he's the one who it's his sister's party, and he's playing this part, like some high part, and I'm watching his kids were playing, walk up to him holding a soda, asking his dad, "Can you open this for me?" And I was like,
while
we're in the middle of a song, like he's playing a solo, and it's like, Dad. It's like, yeah, this is about as good as we ever were.
Did you ever watch that? It's like a Foo Fighters documentary. Same thing. He's like, they're recording an album, and he's doing stuff at home, and the band's all over there, and he's like Dave Grohl's just recording this guitar part, and his daughter's like, but Dad, we're supposed to go swimming. It's like, hold on.
It's so funny, dude. It's like, especially it's so funny that it's like, I'm in the middle of doing this. He's playing a song. You can't stop. It was so funny. All right.
This is unrelated, except that it's Dave Grohl's music.
Oh.
You know that new movie coming out, F1?
Yeah.
With Brad Pitt and so apparently Ed Sheeran wrote a song for it.
Oh yeah?
And I think he sings it, and he got John Mayer to play lead guitar and Dave Grohl to do drums.
Wow.
So there you go.
Is it like, it's not an acoustic song then?
No. Nope. It sounds 90-ish to me. Like late 90s, early 2000s. I've only heard a little snippet. I don't think they've released the full song yet, but
I
check out.
I know like one of Ed Sheeran's songs. I think I know Ed Sheeran most from the movie Yesterday.
Yeah.
He's so freaking funny in that.
Yeah. It's a good movie, dude. I love it.
Me too, actually.
All right, we have to move to this topic because I got a graduation to go to, which I'm not looking forward to.
Wait, is today Whitney's graduation?
Yeah, it starts at 4.
Are you not looking forward to it because it's 150 degrees up there and you have to sit outside, or is it just real long and boring, or both?
No, ours is in the HEB hockey at like the HEB center, so it's inside.
What?
But it's
they do that a lot here.
Man,
the 2 hours after ours is another high school's. Like they just stack them into a day.
We've got the same thing, but it's at our like district's big stadium, and it's
which is where they used to do ours.
That's where the like Pflugerville ISD does theirs in the stadium still.
Yeah.
Or at least they are this year.
Well, good news. It's
all I know is
it's a dreamy 67 degrees here.
Nice.
Well, that's not dreamy enough for me, Mike. If you want to know, it's a dreamy 90 degrees here.
Gross.
The reason I'm not looking forward to it is because who looks forward to graduation? It's going to be like a whole bunch of speakers. It's going to be boring as crap.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny how they all, like, every graduation speech is essentially the same.
I know. We're going to be the best. Continue all your hopes and dreams. I believe the children are our future.
Did you guys know this is the largest graduating class in the history of the country?
The largest graduating class?
Yeah, and then it starts to decline after that. But yeah, this is like some massive birth wave peak.
Really?
Yeah.
And I managed to not have any kids in it.
Yeah.
And they made
you weren't getting busy when everybody else was.
2006. Whoop whoop. Or 2005
or
2006. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, my daughter was
born in 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
so there's that.
Okay, so we're moving on to our topic.
Yeah.
Which is
tie this into us, our influence on younger men also.
Our
might possess such ideas.
Like our influence as a podcast or our influence as older men?
Both.
It is funny, by the way.
I think generally speaking, like, hopefully, guys our age don't think this way.
I've been.
I would hope so, but unfortunately,
I mean, I've heard guys talk this way, but I would say it's more of like a guys who have not yet like secured themselves in the world, and this is one manifestation of it.
I see it a lot in dudes who've been divorced. I think they really identify with this. It's like a rejection of all things they just went through. So here's, just to clarify, when we talk about what we're talking about, we actually have a list of like 10 things in the red pill philosophy. So it's the red pill versus blue pill, wake up to reality kind of thing from Matrix. Which every time I'm always like, which one's everything? It is.
There can't be that many red pills and that many things that like are contradictory that are the truth. But anyway.
Yeah, it's so what's they call it now. I've mentioned in a couple of different episodes, they call it the Manosphere, which is kind of being blown up by YouTubers and like podcasters. I think they kind of throw Joe Rogan into the Manosphere. I'm looking through to see, because there's some names that I was like, I only knew what they were. Go ahead, Mike.
I would be super curious to know if Joe Rogan considers himself to be part of that.
Yeah, and so, I think some people would argue he's not. His podcast isn't, and I think I've heard some people say that it is.
Because and that's the thing. Like, certainly, I've heard episodes of his podcast where I think he fits perfectly.
Right,
but then other ones where he
and this is
he doesn't. I haven't heard a ton of his. But
here's some of the people that they put in the category. They have Andrew. These are social media influencers, but Andrew Tate, Amru, Myron Gaines. I can't say that guy's name. Adlin Ross, Roosh V, Carl Benjamin, and Jordan Peterson.
Which is I wondered if he would land in there. I really don't think Jordan Peterson would put himself there either.
I don't think so either. I don't think
he does either. I think if you take some of his phrasing at times and some of his points out of context, I think he fits in that category. But when you listen to him, through whole things, when he comes around, it's like, oh no, that's not what he's saying. He's actually saying this.
No, like he's a huge proponent of purpose and responsibility and all sorts of things that the Manosphere is like. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got things like this. They talk about the podcast bro archetype. A host who blends the confident style of talk radio with the informality of internet broadcasting. They just described me. Except they often discuss politics, pop culture, and current trends in brash, controversial tones. But it kind of talks through some people attribute Donald Trump's victory to being pushed heavily through the manosphere. And I read some things about this. I didn't know it was called Manosphere at the time, but I read some things about how many, especially divorced men, identify with Donald Trump before his election. Like this idea
said because
of
being like misrepresented or something. Right?
Yeah, misrepresented. Yeah. I'm standing against the system kind of thing. Apparently, and it says this is highlighted by boys chanting "Your body, my choice" in middle schools. And then at Texas State University, a man holding a sign that said "Women are property." So now,
sweet.
I don't think that all people
it's a real strong moment for men.
Yeah. Well, there's some extreme versions in that. There's extreme kind of movements around this, but I'm just going to read through these top 10 that were listed on this thing that actually is not, I think it's related to the manosphere, but it is the red pill philosophy. It's kind of like wake up to the reality around you. So this thing says, go ahead, Mike.
Are you just reading the 10 or are you reading the whole thing?
Is there more?
Well, so if you click on it and see the whole picture.
Thing yeah. Well, I was going to read the whole thing starting with detachment is the ultimate power move.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what this whole thing says. And we're not saying where it came from or because I think this person's also pulling from somewhere else. But these are common themes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I think, distressing. But detachment is the ultimate power move in a man's arsenal. The moment you free yourself from emotional dependence, you break her control over you. Sorry, I'll try not to laugh. In the red pill philosophy, the man who is willing to walk away is the man who holds the cards. Weak men chase, strong men attract. If you want respect, you must be ready to lose her, because the less you care, the more she does. Number 1, the man who can walk away holds all the power. Number 2, detachment kills manipulation. She can't control what she can't shake. Number 3, if she knows you need her, she owns you. Number 4, a man who is ready to lose never truly loses. Number 5, the less you chase, the more they crave. Number 6, emotions make you weak. Control makes you powerful. Oof, that's a little dodgy in there. Number 7, detachment forces respect. Simping invites disrespect. Number 8, scarcity mindset traps you. Abundant mindset frees you. Number 9, when you stop caring, she starts investing. Number 10, a king doesn't beg. He decides who stays in his kingdom. I can't.
Oh my gosh.
So you can see I don't agree with any of this. Well, there's some things in there, like, because one of the things you highlighted was like there are some things in there that I would either I could take it out of context and say I agree with that statement. For example, I agree with scarcity mindset traps you, abundance mindset frees you. I agree with that.
I would almost not like, there are some of them where I think, well, there's truth in the statement. I would never phrase the truth the way they've phrased it.
Right.
Because you haven't taken the red pill.
Yeah, there's things I would...
Because I didn't take the red pill. And, because it's slightly offensive the way they phrase it. So,
well, and there's things there are some things, like I would say, like when he talks about detachment is the ultimate power move, I would say I would reframe detachment into
differentiation.
Differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's that? There's some new hot woman who's using some phrase you guys were telling me about that it's just a differentiation. It's like the let them theory or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is just
Mel
Yeah, it's just
Robbins.
differentiation
Yeah.
of self. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
No relation to the other Robbins guy.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins.
Tony
So-
Robbins. Thank you.
Tony Robbins.
And I think the differentiation is power, but not a power move. And I don't think it's
Mm-mm.
part of an arsenal. I think it is part of like gaining control of yourself. So much of what I find fascinating and disturbing about this and the Manosphere is that you will gain control of yourself by gaining control of women. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Like this whole idea, the whole thing kind of reeks of like, like manipulation to me. Like I guess
Yeah.
I don't know the better word.
No, I agree. It's so. I think the hard part about it is it's like it's still defining myself as a man in relationship with women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just the opposite side of it, and it's like
yeah,
how are you any more differentiated if everything still revolves around the position you have her in?
right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we should probably redefine the differentiation thing again. And I always want to find the best way to describe it, because I usually tend to say it means I can think and feel all the full range of emotions, all the things, and I can express those things without having to tailor or taper them, honest feelings, based on how I think you'll respond. Like I'm able to have that full range.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys like this?
No,
says
I totally.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I will.
Well, I was just going to say this is the ability to distinguish between one's thoughts, feelings, and actions, and maintain a sense of self within the context of relationships, particularly within the family.
Yeah.
So that to me is what we're talking about: being able to maintain yourself and be connected to people. This is
And be
funny
able
because it
to,
sounds like
separate out. I think, like you're saying, like
yeah,
I think it involves seeing yourself clearly, but it also involves seeing somebody else accurately and clearly too when you're in close proximity with them. And if it's like the only way I can see you as dominating me or subjugating yourself to me, I'm not seeing
Yeah.
you as a whole person either, right? Like,
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think that's it is in order to be really differentiated, or sorry, we should say more well differentiated. That was, it used to get so confusing. It's like you're not differentiated or not. It's how much you are. Are you
More or
well
less.
more
Yeah.
or less differentiated? But to be more differentiated, you have it is an ability to have true honest empathy for somebody, to be able to connect into where they are. But it doesn't have to drive what you do. Like, because I can feel your pain doesn't mean I therefore have to, what we've talked about so many times on this show, like men sometimes are afraid of their spouses. And that's where I think this rejection, it's like they get divorced and suddenly it's like, I will never be in that position again. I don't care at all. It drives me nuts. And I think what bothers me most is that, because Matt, you're talking about what we're teaching the next generation, and I don't know, like my kids, I've got 2 boys, and I cannot imagine. In fact, my kids probably would lean more towards, I guess we'll say, simping. Like they pay much more attention to like, how do I my boys both have a lot of empathy. The idea of like my boys having this mentality would make me feel like I totally failed as a father and as a man to teach you like, hey, this is how to be a good human.
Yeah.
Like what in this implies anything about being a good human? Like it makes every single woman sound like an object. It sounds like she is a dog that you will train.
And also I think it's like, here is the safest way to stay completely detached from your insecurities as a person.
Oh, that's a really good way to put that.
Instead of
Because
like
you have
actually facing them and working through them and like,
right.
yeah, finding and defining who you are and what your growth should be about, right? And yeah, I think that there are little nuggets in here of truth in terms of finding yourself And I think that's what makes this stuff so toxic, is it really rings a bell internally and resonates with something that is a good thing that people feel deeply. I really want to be, able to direct myself. And and that's an awesome thing, right? But what it's saying is like the implicit message here is you must be in a relationship to exist, right? So there's no individuation process. And then also on top of that, relationships are about power, manipulation, zero-sum game, and just make sure that you are on top. And if, because this whole walk away doesn't say so that you can really figure out how that relationship messed with your mind and heart and how you can heal.
Yeah.
It's get out of that one so you can go apply rules 3, 4, and 5 and dominate the next woman.
It's kind of funny because as we're talking about it, I could go on forever. It bothers me because when it talks about this, we've talked about this on this show, that we don't, our tendency is none of us, I don't tend to want to be controversial, but I know that controversy or controversial things are what makes people listen because it gets people all fired up. So these Manosphere people, it's like they'll get people to listen and watch no matter what, because either people are like, yeah, I'm on board, or people are livid at it and
angry at the
message. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll get tons of postings and comments and it will turn, and it's like, so it's kind of funny because Matt, actually that question, it's like, I actually think most people who are listening to this show are not likely to buy into the Manosphere stuff. I mean, there may be some who, because like I said, we're like,
oh, I'm out.
Oh, never mind. Just turn it off now, Jerry. So, and like you said, I think it's really, what's really alluring about this is it does take something that I think all humans need, which is that sense of I can hold myself and feel confident in myself and still connect to somebody else. And it distorts it and puts it into this really flashy package. Like a king decides for himself. The whole king thing feels so gross.
Well, it's funny too, because the book we just read really defined what a king actually is. It's not that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I wonder about, though, because, and maybe this is hijacking too soon. I don't know, you guys tell me, but I feel like, well, how do you, Matt, your question of how do you actually get this, teach this message? How do you compete with, I actually think the Manosphere is kind of imploding a little bit. People are saying that's a little, a little too far. And people especially because some of them are getting arrested for sexual assault and stuff. So it's I don't know, maybe this isn't working. It's a little bit like when people try those, we used to talk about this in our addictions and recovery courses when it's the moderation management programs. It's this is works because we know you're gonna drink, so just drink carefully. It's then what happens? It's the founder got arrested for 3 DWIs. That's that's not working.
Lost its credibility.
But so I guess I don't know. If you guys think about this, we do this. I think we do this all day in therapy sessions. I really want both humans, but Spencer, speaking of men, I want men to hey, dude, speak up for yourself. Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I need you to, I just had to wait for 3-4 minutes. Anytime you're ready, just speak up for yourself. Mm-hmm. But like we said before, that other guy whose name I don't know, I don't even know who it is, who we always quote, that speak up for yourself, but don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. Sorry.
What?
Because it was Brent Atkinson, and I was going to say the BA, but.
That's when I like to give myself nicknames. And the drummer's daughter at this thing, she was making little posters for her. She was 7. And she's like, here, will you sign it? It's okay. So I signed one, Rob the Gaunch Porter.
Nice. No,
I was my wife's what's the Gaunch? I was I don't know. Go ahead.
No, it's a good point, and I think it was in Iron John, or maybe another book, but this line keeps sticking with me. It's like, what wounds started this relationship?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Hmm.
man, that is a really good question for anybody in couples therapy, right? And I think to your point of what's a healthy message for young men, it's that you will not find peace in your relationship. You have to find that on your own. And
Right.
that's really what all this is about, is like, I want to establish an order that's set, that I can control, and then I can like feel calm, right? Because I'm not troubled by it. And you don't find peace by dominating people or like appeasing them.
Right.
You find peace with yourself by like wrestling with your own insecurities and detaching from all the frameworks that tell you who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to say and like how to attract and blah, 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 right? Which is what all these influencers push, right? Is like how to attract. And if you can find that peace, then really a relationship is for like connection and the experience of learning how to truly love somebody and pour yourself into something, right? Like, but when you try to do them both at the same time, you know, you prioritize like the thing that you could do for yourself. So they're right in the sense that you don't need that other person for your peace. But if you
Right.
can't establish your own peace, like a real king would, right? Then you got to throw people out.
Yeah, and I think it's a thing to point out too, that like for most of us, I mean, I got married when I was 25, and I don't know that I have patterns that it's like, having been married now for 20 years, I've had to figure out how do I reestablish, like, or how do I even find that, like, figure out that peace and that sense of differentiation of self inside this context. I think, just to clarify, not that anyone's saying like, so I should leave my wife if I want to find peace, and then I can, it's like, no, you can find it inside there, but it
Yeah.
doesn't,
But not
you
through
can't,
her, right?
yeah, you can't
think
be
that's
like,
the-
you
yeah.
will give me this peace. Because
Yeah.
that's the part that we want. We want control of our own emotional experience.
Mhm.
And too often, this, like, I think, Matt, you're saying this, or maybe it was you, Mike, that it's like, yeah, you are giving it away. This one is like, I'm gonna grab it from you, I guess. And it's not in a healthy way. And it's like, I will take yours and I will decide your peace for you, to a woman, I guess. And the other one is what we've talked about before, where it's like, when she's happy with me, then things are good. It's like, well, dude, you married her, so sometimes she's not going to be happy with you.
Yeah.
But I think I've thought about this before. Is this just kind of like the kind of thing that, that because it requires an honest, quiet, difficult work, it will never be flashy? Like, detachment does not take work. It just takes
letting go.
cut off. Like,
Yeah.
because if that's the case, then how do you, I guess it's like, you're right. Everything you're describing, you want to show men, this is how you gain peace. Honest peace. But I don't know how do you sell it? I mean, social media, obviously.
No, I agree. I think it sucks, but it's like, and I think that's where, if you think about not necessarily our podcast, right, but like your one-on-ones with the teen boys in your life, right? What do those look like? Because I think embedded in some of these statements, like we said, there's like an issue of the heart going on that if you speak to one-on-one, or even like, groups of teen boys, the reason I hesitate on the group is it'd have to be a group where it was okay for them to like open up a bit around each other.
Yeah.
Then this is going to resonate on a deep level, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like any kind of nutrient. When you get it and it's exactly what you need, it's like, oh man, like I don't feel an urge to go pursue something like this, right? The pangs of my wound have quieted down a bit, and so I'm not urgent to relieve it in some way. But the urgent and the frantic and the, mindless and the scrolling and all that stuff, yeah, you'll get sucked right back in. But just make sure you've got an anchor in your life that can remind you, like, hey, like, that's not where it comes from, right? That's not how you find it. And sometimes men and boys have to go through, like, burning it all down to figure that out. And I don't want to say, like, that's okay, meaning, like, it's a good way to do it, but it's understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, some of the things we talked about last week, it's like just like a deep conversation while you're fishing with, somebody important in your life, a deep interaction when you're, like, in nature or playing a sport or doing a hobby, or, like, we all know that's where I feel like I'm grounded and I'm myself. And then I think what comes from that place is, like, a way more healthy version of everything we just read. But but maybe it's just a simple reminder that, like, what you're looking for, you're not going to find it there.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, in my head of, like, how do you, like, what are the ways that I would teach? Well, the way I teach clients, like, and there's some things that I teach clients to do that they roll their eyes at, that I roll my eyes at. That's like, I actually think journaling matters, not for your posterity, but, like, I'm all for that, but because, like, you got to start to like listen to yourself somehow. And I think journaling is that one of those ways that we can do that, to like process through. I always tell my clients, it's like your hand can't move as fast as your brain can. So it makes you slow down. So you have to kind of go, oh, what is that? Like, or meditation that I think is so valuable, and mindfulness, and having moments like, on Sunday morning, the drummer's mom, we were staying at her house, and she lives on a golf course. And so I'm sitting out on the balcony, just standing there watching a dude mow the greens, which I've never watched before. But it's like this meticulous work that I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome. I just wanted to stay there forever. I was like, it feels very meditative. Or like, this is why I think what I like about this, it'd be nice to have, like, a big enough following. We could have podcast retreats where we all get together and hang out, because playing in a band, if I could recommend that everybody plays in a band, it's different. I didn't ever play on a sports team in high school. Let's go sports team. But being in a band, I think what seems different to me is, like, on a team, you're going out to, like, quote unquote, fight the other team and win. In a band, it's like we're just going up there and we're all kind of putting it out there. And there's a lot of trust in the
faces off.
Yeah. And there's trust in the other players in the band, like, sometimes, not mentioning anyone in particular, but someone forgets that, like, they're supposed to come in there, and you look over and he's just standing there not doing his part. It's like, huh? I didn't actually notice it. Someone pointed it out after the thing. I was like, oh yeah, he didn't come in. But I think that kind of stuff of knowing, like, how do I open up to men in some way, like fishing on a boat, or something that feels personal. That's like learning to listen to yourself rather than define yourself by how hot it is, the thing that you attracted. It's so, like, and defining yourself by what people see. Something I really admired from some of these dudes that I play with. They make more money than it looks like they make. Like, they're not concerned with showing it off. But I know they're making more money than that. But they're just, they don't find their value in being a man by, like, showing off how much wealth they have. But that's part of the Manosphere thing. I will show you how powerful I am. Instead of saying, I know how powerful I am. It does not come from how much money I make. It comes from the sense of control that I have. Anyway, I don't, Mike.
No, I think
go ahead, Matt.
Real fast. Sorry. I think that seeing anybody that's involved or attracted to stuff like this, I think as a society, we see it as, like, okay, that dude's a threat.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, that dude's in pain. That teenager is super insecure. How do I engage him that way? There's a story from a book called The Boy Crisis, where the author said that somebody wrote him a letter and said, I was literally ready, like armed. I don't know how he came across the book at this time, but he had already had like a plan to go shoot up his school. And he read that book and was like, I felt so understood that I changed my mind. And I think that we have to be careful sometimes the way we look at this stuff, because it's somebody who's desperately seeking relief from something, and could potentially, do something harmful. But the way that we engage it, I think, really matters. And I think you can disengage it a lot easier when you see the insecurity and the pain underneath first, and maybe ask questions like, you seem really drawn to this stuff. What's speaking to you in it, right? Like, what do you admire in these guys? What do you, stuff like that, and kind of get them talking a bit. And I think sometimes the argument falls apart a little bit, right? And then it's like they start telling you, well, I'm really angry about this, and I'm really hurt by this, and okay,
yeah,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's a really, like, the one-on-one part, and that's actually an interesting point too, to in general with stuff like this, when someone is so vehemently going after something in such a big way like this, it's like to meet them where they are, to say, well, what is this? Like, what's the appeal? And then that's what I think I see a lot of men like this, that they have been like, when they're just coming out of a relationship. And it's like, dude, I got super burned there, and I can't figure out why. And then the answer is like, oh yeah, I was weak. And I think they identify with the weak part, because it's like, yeah, I was afraid of my wife or my girlfriend, like, and I won't be that way again. It's like, okay, but there is a way to do this correctly. Let's work through this pain, like what you're talking about, because it's a good point. Most of the people who are doing this, there are some, I think, that do it because it brings them a bunch of money and fame.
Yeah, for sure.
But there are some they're just looking for, I don't want to get burned like that again, so I won't. I'll just detach. But I did say Mike because I don't think we've let you talk yet, and we're running out of time because Rob's got a hard stop.
All right, because graduation.
Woo!
No, that's like what Matt kind of hit on. I was like, that's where I was wondering, is what kind of kid is going to respond to this?
Yeah.
Like, what is it, the thing they're going to be looking for? And that my thought was, they're going to look like, I think the appeal is, it's a unifying kind of statement, right? Like, they are speaking theoretically to all men in this statement. And most men will be able to identify with one of the 10 statements, if not more, right? Either where not living that statement burned them, or where living that statement kind of helped give them a sense of identity. And so I think they'll be able to recognize a piece of themselves somewhere in there. And then just this past Sunday, I was listening to a guy talk, and he was talking about adopting a habit that he felt like he needed to adopt. And was talking to his wife about it. And his comment as he was speaking, as he goes, so here I am, and I've committed, I'm going to do it. And she goes, and of course she's already been doing it. And he goes, isn't that just the way it is? And I thought, yeah, it's a very subtle version of men aren't good enough.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's like, it was kind of a throwaway statement. I don't know that he gave it that much thought. But I thought, I wonder how many men listening totally identify with that. Yep, I'm not as good as my wife. I'm not as good as...
They all say it.
Right. Well, that's, I like, on some level, I know I do, but I also wondered how many of them would admit it.
Yeah.
And I thought, with the thing like this, they wouldn't need to admit it, because it's the rallying cry.
Right.
Like, as men, let's band together and let's do this. But it's without recognizing what it is they're looking for. Like, there's a theme of control in here. And thanks to you, Rob, now whenever I hear control come up over and over and over again, I think, oh, so what are you anxious about?
Yeah.
Like you are just trying to control something. You're anxious about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just kind of, yeah, like I said, identifying what is it they're looking for and how do I help them see the other side of it? The whole like power dynamics are real. They exist. They're complicated. But yeah, like the way they talked about them in here, like it's just gross. like no, you've missed the point. A relationship is not meant to be one. It's it's meant to be built. It's meant to be understood. It's meant to be whatever. But they talk about it here like it's a thing you win.
Yeah, and that's what I think my take home, because thinking about this, what you're describing, Mike, and actually Matt's what you're saying too, this idea of like being able to like I have these reactions to the thing that it makes me angry when I read this list, because it's like, are you kidding me? Are there dudes out here that think this? And then I think they're a bunch of douchebags. Instead of thinking, oh, okay, wait a second, maybe it is. If I could actually, I won't ever going to talk to Andrew Tate by himself, but it's like to be able to find out like what burns you, like what are you afraid of, like what do you identify with in this and why? But specifically, and this is what I keep thinking about this, like how do we, and this is maybe a whole different topic for a different day, like how do we mentor young men who we are not even some, our own kids, obviously, but then kids that we interact with, their friends, how do we show them what it means to be a good man? And how do you show some dude who's being an idiot in a grocery store how to be a good dude? Like, I think it takes more and more people who are willing to be good men and willing to show that as often as they can, I guess. Like especially with, I think that's my take home message, is like to find out, how do I connect with this person, whether they're a young person or an older person, like how do I connect with you in a way that I can understand why you think this, so I can help you get to a point where you're understanding a bigger picture that would not treat another human as an object, for example. Also, I need you guys to get in close to this. See that?
No, because you're
real blurry.
Your connection sucks, so it's all blurry.
I woke up this morning.
Pink eye?
No, I have a burst blood vessel.
Ooh.
That it's like pooling deep red underneath my eyeball.
Jeez.
And it's the same eye that had a sty in. I look at it now, I'm like, I look like a Bond villain. Like, and now it's like looking like it's starting to droop. I'm like, am I gonna have Bell's palsy? Anyway, any other thoughts? My hard stop is here. I gotta go.
Happy graduation.
Okay.
Yeah, happy graduation to Wits.
Okay. All right. I'll tell her. So you guys come back next time. Catch us on the Manspace. Burr, 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 burr.